All right, good morning, all. I've got a couple of minutes after 11, and so we'll go ahead and get started. I know a few people are still joining in, but we'll go ahead and get started so we can give our presenters as much time as they need. I want to welcome you to the IMAGIN Webinar Series. And this is our second installment of the webinar series. Hope you're enjoying them if you managed to join last week. Today, we are going to have Joe and Jay from Seiler Instrument presenting on visualizing your data, your 3D data live in the real world. My name is Thomas Van Bruggen, president of IMAGIN and with Muskegon County. And also organizing and hosting our meeting today is Tony Bedone from Ann Arbor and on the IMAGIN board as well. So make sure to send your questions in either via the chat or question window. Different viewers seem to see different boxes, but send those questions in via the chat or questions window, and we will make sure to address those either at a break in the presentation or at the end, and we'll monitor those as they come in. Want to go over just a couple of quick things for our series, and wanted to mention our next couple of webinars. So on December 3rd, we're going to have Confessions of a Part 107 UAS pilot by Brian from the State of Michigan Land Bank Authority. And then on December 17th, we're going to be back with Joe from Seiler, with How Accurate is My Field Data That I Collected. So we'll be hearing some more about our field operations. So make sure to register for those at imagine.org. And again, just send your questions through the questions or chat box. Presenters will answer as many as possible at the end, or if there is an appropriate break, we'll address those. The webinar is being recorded, so within about a week and a half, we'll post the webinar up. I keep hitting the slide button, I apologize for that. So it will be recorded, and just again, make sure to check out our website and our social media pages for more information about the webinar series. We appreciate that, and we appreciate all of our presenters. And with that, we are going to go ahead and turn it over to Joe and Jay from Seiler Instrument for our presentation today.
You guys see my screen okay? Which one?
Yeah, yep, I can see it, yep.
Okay, good deal. Good morning, good early afternoon to you guys, and thanks for having us, and thanks for sitting in to hear us talk about visualizing your 3D data live in the real world. So my name is, there we go. My name is Joe Madej. I am the mapping technical support for Seiler Instrument, based out of St. Louis. I've worked for Seiler Instrument for about 6 years now, and been doing, have my GISP area specialization is in GIS. I've been doing this for over 13 years, so I've had experience of being boots on the ground, being the cog in the wheel, doing data creation back in the office. So I've kind of been around the block doing a bunch of stuff, and now here doing technical support on the Trimble and GIS and Esri side of things. And then also on the phone with me is Jay Riester. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jay Riester, Senior Mapping Support Technician. I'm based out of our Franklin office, a suburb of Milwaukee. Similar to what Joe said, helping customers with GIS, GPS workflows. We are an Esri business partner, Autodesk Gold business partner, and I've been in the industry since 1996, geography degree, and my first GPS unit was a backpack unit back in 1996, if anybody can think back to those time frames of using ARC info and old backpack data collection. So we're going to talk about something new in the industry, and Joe's going to lead the conversation on visualizing 3D data live in the field.
So before we get into talk about this, just to give you a little bit of background about who we are. So some of you might be familiar with Michigan Survey Supply. Back about a year ago, Seiler came in and we attained Michigan Survey Supply. So Seiler, Geospatial, or Seiler Instrument, however you want to name it, we are the same group. So what really is beneficial for Michigan now is all these people that you see in this photo here are part of the Seiler team. So we have registered professional land surveyors, certified GISPs, certified trainers, licensed UAV pilots. We have everything that under the sun that we get to help you guys out. So yes, we do sell stuff, but we want to present ourselves more as a resource and potentially helping you out and figure out the needs of what we can do to make you successful. So this is just kind of, you know, who we are and all the partnerships that we have there. We've been a Gold Autodesk partner for 25 years now, and as well as Esri and Trimble, a Trimble dealer as well. Let's see. So where are we located? So here's a quick map just to show where our offices are located. So the GIS segment actually is in 8 states. And we have offices in each. We have sales reps, we have tech support in each location. And the headquarters of Seiler is actually in St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I'm based out of. So Seiler is a family-run company celebrating 75 years this year. Was supposed to have a big blowout, but with COVID going on, we're all kind of stuck at home. So that's where I'm at right now, is at home presenting to you guys on this new information. So we do have an office that is at 2 offices that are in Michigan. There's one in Lansing, and then there's one in Wixom as well. So there's 2 offices that we have up there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a scenario. So if your name's Peter, I'm sorry, I just chose a random name to create this scenario. So Peter works for XYZ City Sewer Department. They've gone out. They've collected their sewer manholes with high accuracy GPS, and then now what's happening is it's time for Peter to go out and inspect these manholes. They're going out there just to check the integrity. Maybe they're going to scan them. Maybe they're going to send a tape down to see how deep they are, if they're backed up. It's time for him to do inspections. And then what happened now is the street department has come out and has paved over the manholes that are on this location. So how can Peter go out there and use this and go out there and locate these manholes? So the first thing that he could do is he could go out there and he could search by eye. He could go out there and maybe see there's maybe a raise in there, and then they're going to have to go out there and dig that manhole up. The other one here is they could do measurement with wheel and tape. If they have the measurement of the drawings, they could go out there, but we both know that those are going to be very time sensitive and take a lot of man hours to try and go out there and use those 2 methods. You could also go out there and use your GNSS equipment. So depending upon what software you use to collect your data, you know, there's a lot of softwares that are out there that you can go collect data. A lot of it's cloud-based now. You could use your GNSS equipment to go out there and locate or capture that captured data. The only thing is that could require a data connection in the field. So if you're needing higher accuracy with some of these newer softwares, you have to have some sort of data connection or internet connection while you're out in the field to make sure you can get to that location. Or we could actually, now the big thing here is utilizing augmented reality or a mixed reality device and going out into the field and using that, you know, paired with a cell phone and actually be able to view your data live in the field. So this is really where their quote here is, now a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I'm a true believer of this, as we are all visual people, and you know, we want to be able to visualize data. We know that technology is moving very rapidly. It seems that every day there's some sort of new cell phone that's coming out. There's some sort of new technology that's coming out. It's just very tough to keep up with that. You know, new PCs. So there's really 3 different types of reality that we can have and we can do. So the first one would be virtual reality. And you know, virtual reality has been around for quite some time. And what virtual reality is going to do is you're going to wear a headset and it's going to transport you to a new place. You're not going to be in that realm. So this would be with one of those devices like an Oculus Rift, which is you might see them being promoted now, and you have 2 controllers that are in your hand, and this game here is called Beat Saber. So this person's playing this game next to music, and they're transported away from their current technology or their current world. So the next one that you could do is mixed reality. And what mixed reality would be doing is you're going to take your information and you're going to overlay it in you know, maybe glasses or in some sort of like goggles. So the image that you see here is actually they actually have swim goggles that track how much you swam, how long you swam, and it's built right into the goggles, so you can actually overlay that information in your real world scenario. And then the other one here is augmented reality. If you're familiar at all with Pokemon Go, this is considered augmented reality. You're out there in the real world, you see a Pokemon, you can go out there and capture that. You can go out there and capture that data. So how do we go, you know, how can we go out there and capture that information and see that data live in the field? So I'm going to pass this on to Jay, and he's going to start talking about the equipment that you can use out in the field to visualize your data, your 3D data live in the field.
All right, thanks, Joe. Yeah, so Joe kind of gave you a preface of the scenario and also what some sort of technologies that are already out there in the world of virtual reality. So there's a product that we use called Trimble Sight Vision that is a combination of a GNSS antenna with a subscription service and an Android phone, and it's on, well, you can see the handle there. That has a couple different devices with inside of it that we'll talk a little bit later on how this all works. But basically, this would allow you to take existing data, whether it's CAD or GIS data, out into the real world in a mixture of augmented and or virtual reality, if you will, mixed reality, so that you could analyze maybe pre-construction or post-construction, like the scenario that Joe was talking about, is that the manhole is now covered. Well, where exactly is it, and where are the lines? Which directions do they go? Well, if you already had that information, whether it was pre-built or already in your CAD or GIS, you could actually visualize it out in the field. So here's some quick screenshots of what this really means in the real world while you're out in the field. So you could actually visualize that data in 3D outside of your office. Maybe there's a new parking lot, like Joe was talking about, you know, the road got paved over. Maybe there's some plans to move or expand the building out into that parking lot, and then the parking lot's going to get moved. So you could kind of see, again, some pre and post construction analysis, so to speak, in that visual 3D in the upper left. In the upper right-hand corner, the software that we use is called Trimble Connect. It's a cloud-based software where you can publish the data to the cloud and then bring it down to the device to use with Sight Vision. Also, you can collaborate with other users, whether it's your own staff, maybe a different department, or even contractors. Then down in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got an example of what it actually does look like when you're out there in the field, and you can actually use some quick GPS data collection and or measure or markup tools. That's what a lot of the different boxes down there at the bottom are kind of giving symbols of options. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, after your data has been synced back up, if you've made any markups or did some analysis on it while I was out in the field, you could then create some reports from that Trimble Connect Cloud account that you have access to with your subscription. So as far as some industries, there's many that this can be used in, just like in your GPS and survey world and GIS. One of the main ones is architecture, especially in the CAD and the BIM world. This architecture basically can be for outside the building itself, visualizing where the building footprint is going to land on a new property or a new plot. Also checking utilities and maybe any landscaping that goes along with that. So that can be all bundled into a theme called architecture. For what most of us probably on the call here are interested in would be maybe the survey and mapping aspect of this. Underground utilities, maybe a new subdivision is going in and you want to visualize where those sewer manholes or drainage inlets are going to be placed.
And Jay, just to add one of the things here that you can transfer your attribute information over, and if you notice here on the right hand side on this photo, you can actually see that we can click on this line and see that attribute information. So you can see our manholes right here, and then you can see our lines as well, and they'll draw those on. It will draw those on the ground for you as well.
Yeah, good point. It's not just a visual representation. This is actually interactive. As long as you've got data in those tables, as Joe said, you can click on it and basically see the pop-up information of what has already been pre-collected and or is in your database. For those more so on the construction side, same concept. You're dealing with, what does the actual footprint of the building or the interior of the building kind of look like on that location. Also getting into some utilities. How will the utilities interact, whether they're already pre-existing or going to be added onto for when the building is going to be actually built or reconstruction. Again, also too, there in the bottom right photo, you can see that there's some labeling on some of that infrastructure in the photo. Also too, the attribute information details do pop up and of course can be edited too. As you can see, there's some pick lists and some text boxes that could be edited. Some other things to point out too, just as you can see within these images down in the bottom lower left and right, there is some cross-section and transparency slider bars that you can manipulate too while you're out in the field too. Don't have a live demo of that, but if you need more information on that, we can show you how that works. But here's, applications for other industries dealing with residential, landscaping, of course. It would be a big ticket item in this when you especially are starting to deal with new developments, subdivisions and or business parks. Those of you that might be in city and county GIS planning, this definitely can come into retrospect of when you are proposing new roads or additions to roads, maybe a bike path that now needs to be added into one of those lanes of the roads, just to visualize how that actually would look out in the field versus how it is today. Huge benefit too would be in the utility industry. If you see where those power lines are, if they're not there right now, but you could visualize what they would look like, and maybe if there's any infrastructure that already is in place that might interfere with, whether it's buildings or tree right away, or even too just to see how it would look backed up, like maybe against an existing subdivision or business park for aesthetic purposes.
Yeah, and also to add that as well, you can, if you have stakeholders who want to be able to view that information, you could design what you want to put out in the field, and you can show your stakeholders how this could impact do an impact environment statement. You can do, how is these utility poles, where's the right of way of the utility poles? The uses are kind of endless. There's kind of a lot of uses that you can use with this here. So
yeah, and especially on the environmental side too, impact studies for DNR. Definitely something to visualize. So behind the scenes, we were talking about that you can bring existing data out into the field. There's many formats that are available. On the lower left-hand side, you can see that there's some Trimble formats. If you're familiar with the survey side, Trimble Business Center, data that can come out of there and get addressed and uploaded into the cloud account and then be brought down into the Site Vision virtual reality. Some other open industry formats, some of you may be familiar with Land XML, AutoCAD drawings, Esri shapefiles, your standard images, PNG, and basically they are stored up in a Trimble account called Trimble Connect underneath your organization, and it's a two-way communication to the Android device out in the field, and can be visualized with the Site Vision device itself with the GPS location. So you can get accurate GPS location down to 1 inch so that you could help put this into a real world scenario where it would look like on the land X, Y, and Z.
So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to show you a quick video here about the ease of use. So what you're going to see is you're going to see one of our coworkers here. His name's Mark. He actually works on the design solutions team on the AutoCAD side. But what happens is once we load that data up into the cloud, we can go out into the field with the Sight Vision device paired with an Android phone, so it has to be running Android, and I believe it has to be like an Android like S9 or later, so it has to be a pretty powerful form that can run AR Core. But you can go out there, set your data up, and then go out there and view this information. So what Mark's going to do is he's going to take this Sight Vision, he's going to get his bearings with the receiver. It's going to tell him to walk 10 yards, and once he walks 10 yards, he has everything that he needs to do with this. There are some AR information that's out there right now where you can go out there and you can see your data, but you can't actually move. If you want to move from point A to point B, you have to refresh your data. Sight Vision actually takes that information and will allow you to move 360 degrees in whichever direction you will, and it'll automatically redraw that information. So what you'll see here, what Mark's going to do is he was getting ready to build a gazebo on the back of his yard, and he wants to see that gazebo. So this is a quick video about Mark getting everything set up with the ease of use with Sight Vision. So it's telling him that he needs to walk 10 yards straight ahead right now. So he's walking ahead 10 yards. And now that Sight Vision has its bearing down to 1 centimeter. Then he's going to load that gazebo site into this. As you can see, it's a DWG, it's a CAD file that he designed it. So he designed it, and there's the model based in there. So you can see the transparency. We can slide that transparency bar over, and now we can see that gazebo placed in the yard, and how is it going to affect that. He can take a picture, and this is what he's going to do is he's going to submit a report back to the office in case there's something wrong or something doesn't look right. He can make a report and send it back to the office and have that photo of where something could potentially be wrong. So we've talked about Sight Vision now. So how does Peter visualize that data in the field with Trimble Sight Vision? We're going to go a little bit into the weeds here with that data. So Peter's now going to become me. So how is the data collected? So I went around my neighborhood and I collected manholes with a Trimble Centimeter R2 with my Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and I used Esri Collector with Trimble Mobile Manager on a 2-meter pole. So I used that data. I went out and collected those manholes, and then from there, I went and downloaded the data from ArcGIS Online as a file geodatabase. I then moved it into ArcMap 10.7.1, and I used another software via Trimble Positions to use the data to load into Trimble Connect. Now, you do not necessarily have to have Trimble Positions as that connector to load the data into Connect. Trimble Connect works just like Dropbox would or Google Drive. You have a zip file, you zip it up, you drag and drop it into Trimble Connect, and your data's there. I just wanted to use this as a stepping stone, and as you can see, the manholes that I captured here are being labeled. So I can export that data and then create a new map workspace. And then the biggest thing is I'm waiting for those files to assimilate and draw inside of Connect. Once that data is inside of Connect, I can load those projects into Sight Vision, and I can measure points. You can go out there and collect data with Sight Vision, and then load them back into ArcMap if you wanted to as well. So it's kind of a two-way street. We can load data into it, but we can also collect data and send it back into an Esri product or whichever, any CAD product. It truly is a two-way street. So here's what the data looks like inside of Trimble Connect. The same exact information that I collected in Esri Collector, just really Trimble Connect doesn't have robust symbology to see that information. As you can see, those dots are little and yellow, and we can't really see them what they look like. So what I did now was I actually went out and this manhole's not covered up, but this is that same manhole that I captured. It's giving me that information. Peter could go out there and he could actually go and take a point, take a photo, and say, hey, I know this manhole is here, and he can get that information back to the office so they can come out and dig this manhole up, and he can go about his day of seeing that information. So not only could he create a point, but he could also create a photo, and then that way it's something that you could be tied into your GIS and have that updated for years down the road with that information. So as you can see, that little dot is yellow, and for me it wasn't that easy to see. So there is another tool that we can use with Sight Vision, and it's called the Sight Vision Visualization Manager. Try to say that 5 times fast. It's not easy. So what I did here was, this is completely free to use too. But what I can do here is I brought my feature class in and I equaled it to my manhole name. My geometry heights were to the ground, and my display style was manhole. So Trimble has gone out and actually made 3D models that you can use if you want to view this differently. And what this did was created a JSON, and then I just took that JSON and loaded it in the same folder that I had inside of Trimble Connect. And then I reloaded my file, and I was actually able to see the manhole. The manhole is a 3D structure instead of a little yellow floating orb out in the field. So that's really how you can go about and visualize your data, and using Sight Vision. And there are other products that are out there, but just know that this is information that is coming. A lot of people are starting to get into this information and start utilizing these tools to do this. So Jay, do you have anything else to add to this at all?
No, I do not. You've covered the basics of what Sight Vision is all about.
Cool. The only other thing here is do we have any questions that have come in the chat?
So far, guys, no, I don't see any questions coming in. But attendees, if you have any questions, feel free to send those in the chat or the questions box.
Yeah, and even if you don't have any questions about Sight Vision, or if you're interested in getting into, GPSing your data or using Esri Collector, let us know. We have a website, seilergeo.com, and then we also maintain a blog with information about updates about potentially the new field maps app that came out to date. So we have a blog that you can follow. We don't spam you with blog information. If you want to get a hold of Jay or I, here's our 2 contact informations. It's just mapsupport@seilergeo.com. That email will go to Jay or I, and then we also have a toll-free number that you can contact us at, well, if you have questions. That's all I have for you for you guys. If we don't have any questions,
I don't see any yet, but I've got a couple of questions just to throw out. They didn't come through the chat or questions yet, but you mentioned that it's an Android-based mobile device that it's connecting to.
yes.
Do you know, are there any plans to make an iOS-based version?
Okay, so that is the $1 million question of whether that's going to come to fruition. And my hopes and dreams is that some of these AR solutions start working together as like a team. Like Trimble might work together with another product that is strictly iOS. But what it really truly boils down to is Android just has a let's call it an easier platform to work inside of, more than iOS, where iOS is heavily stringent in terms of editing, in terms of building applications and working with solutions. And that AR core, that Trimble Sight Vision works off of is built by Google. So that's pretty much why it's Sight Vision. And the other thing here is the Trimble Catalyst that's on top of that is, as of right now, it's Android only. But recently Trimble has brought out it to work on a Windows 7 device with survey gear. We haven't really gotten into the weeds on that, but I do see more enhancements coming down the road, and it's starting to be open more to that. It seems like we're heading towards that iOS opening here soon.
Yeah, a quick clarification on a Windows 10 device.
Oh, okay, yeah. Another question would be is, does any of the do any of these processes, or can any of this be tied into with, many of the local governments have like the Geo7 type receivers, things like that. Can any of those be used to leverage some of this technology as well?
No, not necessarily. Like not necessarily. The Geo7 is great in its own. It's great in its own mind. But the only thing we could potentially do with the Geo7 at this moment is load your data back up into TerraSync or ArcPad and go out there and collect collect your data. So if you guys join us in about a week now, I'll be back again presenting on accuracy. How accurate is the data that I collected, and we're going to cover the Geo7s and the new technology for doing data collection as well. So right now, this is new technology, and you would have to buy. You're not going to be able to leverage your Geo7s that you currently have.
Okay. And then another question is, how do the workflows work along with like an ArcGIS Pro workflow process? Integration with ArcGIS Pro.
Yeah. So with Pro, me personally, I've switched 100% over to Pro. I don't even open up ArcMap at all anymore, just because that's the direction that we know that Esri is kind of forcing upon us, and they're putting all their enhancements into that. I know Trimble is working on some stuff, some enhancements to bring a solution like that into Arc Pro, but in theory, with Arc Pro, all I need to do is take that geodatabase or shapefile or information, zip it up, and then I just drag and drop it into Connect. So it's super easy in terms of an Arc Pro solution. There's just no interconnect into Trimble Connect at the moment with Arc Pro at the moment.
But there are definitely workflows where it's not, well, it might not be a direct synchronization. There are, step through a step or two, and you're right there. So
exactly. So what I would potentially do is find where that geodatabase or whatever data file you have in Pro is, and then I would me personally, I would probably make a copy so I don't screw anything up. Make a copy of that geodatabase, zip it up, and then all I do is drag and drop it into Connect, and then it'll parse the information, and I'm ready to go with Sight Vision.
It sounds good. That's it's the only set of questions I've seen so far.
Okay. And like if anybody has any questions, please feel free and ask us. I like to make my brain think and have us ask questions. And if we want to take this offline, we can do a Zoom meeting and talk to you more about this as well.
We hope our Imagine user base was able to submit questions today. So provide feedback to the Imagine team if you were unable to do that. But I learned a lot, and I do thank you, gentlemen, for spending the time this morning and presenting with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for hosting this.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, with that being said, we will see you in about a month to Imagine webinars from now, and we will learn some more from your team. But we, again, do appreciate your time this morning.
Thanks, guys, for having us.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all. And again, for everybody, check out the Imagine website. Let's see if I can show my screen. I think I got to grab presenter. But check us out. Check out the Imagine website. We've got a couple of more webinars coming up before the end of the year. Then we'll take a little bit of a longer break over the Christmas holidays. And then we will be back at it in January too with a whole series of webinars. We've got webinars planned all the way through, I believe we're through April now, and more coming in too. So if you have ideas, comments, or questions, please reach out to us, and we'll always try to help you out in that. And look for this recording and the information that goes along with it here in the next week or so on our website. And thank you very much, guys.